right now we're going to be going across the border to Wisconsin, and we're going to be talking to Coach Mike Powers from the Clinton girls basketball team. And before we get into this interview, how's the team doing this year, Coach?
Actually, we're doing really, really well. Really proud of them. They're currently rated number 8 in the state. We have a 10-2 record. We play Broadhead tonight, which is the number 2 team in the state, and really, really good team. So that's what we're prepping for tonight. They beat us earlier in the year, and we're hoping to get a shot at them tonight, but they're really, really good.
A story right now that is kind of hitting the whole state line area is something you guys did for South Beloit. South Beloit's girl team only has like 6 players on the team. The crowds weren't showing up, and it was one of those things where the kids were trying hard, and you came up with an idea to help out. Tell us a little bit about that idea and what it was.
Sure. I just remember reading Josh Flickinger's blog on the Beloit Daily News and just seeing, and reading what he had written about what they're kind of going through. And, man, that just really hit me because just the thought of how that's got to be with just 6 players. Last year we had 9 players on our roster, but we had a 3-week period of time when people were sick and hurt. We averaged only 6 players, and I just remember how grueling those practices were, how hard it was to keep everybody motivated, and just the thought of doing that for 4 months straight, and then realizing that, to have only about 20 people come to your home game, and how hard that is. And something he had written there is that these girls will never really feel the excitement of what a normal home crowd should be. And that just got me thinking is we got to be able to do something, even if it's only for one night. And so I just kind of talked to my youth group and talked to our basketball team, and then sent an email out to all the Rack Valley Conference coaches and just said, all right, here's the idea. They have a home game coming up, on a Saturday, and this was a Wednesday, trying to throw everything back, or trying to throw everything together last minute. I was amazed at the response.
And
Jefferson girls and the Turner girls coaches and teams come. 2 teams that are our rivals that we play very hard against, but have formed good relationships with, and just a really cool turnout for that to happen.
And really, when you look back on this, sure, you're learning basketball and all those type of things, but you're learning more as a young lady and as spectators on what it's about to be a really true person, aren't you?
Right, you bet.
What kind of a crowd did they have? I know they had a really good crowd, but it had to be fun for everybody to be there.
Yeah, it was just a really neat experience. There were, about 25 kids from our youth group, upwards of, 10, 11, or 12 coaches and teammates from Jefferson, Turner, and Clinton, and then just a number of adults came out too, of just former players that have played for us in the past, and just other people from our church or from Clinton area, and other people that had just heard about it and came, and so there were probably between 80 and 100 people, there, and just the whole atmosphere was just amazing. Watching, one of my favorite moments was girls from all the teams went out and made a tunnel for the South Beloit girls to come out when they first took the floor. And I don't think the South Beloit girls knew that they were going to be outside that door. And a couple of my players just said, yeah, when they opened the door, they were kind of like, what's going on? But just snapping some pictures and watching the smiles on their faces as they dribbled through that tunnel of fellow players who know what it's like to have the hard practices and the ups and downs of a season, and to be there and cheering, and knowing that they don't know each other. One of the Jefferson girls kind of put it best, and she said, I was going tonight to cheer for my friends that I hadn't met yet. And it was just a really cool experience. And then looking around and seeing looks on the faces of some of the people in the crowd that were trying to figure out what was going on, and having the Pecatonica coach come up to us afterwards and approach us and just, say, because I wasn't sure how he would, take that. You go to a game and all of a sudden there's a mob of people that are cheering for the other team, and they did a great job of not cheering against Pecatonica, but only cheering for South Beloit. But he came up and he just said, hey, I want you guys to know what you just did for that team. That was awesome. And he said he was glad to, to be a part of that. And that showed a lot of class, too. Obviously he's in a tough spot. He's got to try and win the game. We're hoping for the Disney ending, but he's, got to try and win the game for his team. And so just a lot of those little moments. From a coaching perspective, sitting with the Jefferson coach and talking with the Turner coach and just saying, we're not having to scout. We're not having to coach. I can just be here and take this all in and see those, other players just make all these cheers for South Beloit, and seeing some of the South Beloit players, look up in the stands every once in a while with just a big smile on their face. And, in 25 years of coaching, that was one of the best moments that I've ever experienced at a basketball game.
And sometimes high school sports is all about that, isn't it? You see that a lot of that, but this is really just a special time. And have you been surprised at the reaction? Because I know a lot of people are talking about this and on Twitter and on Facebook.
Yeah, it's just really cool. And what I like most about it is when it's all said and done, the amount of emphasis that we put as a culture, because one team can put this round orange ball through this round metal cylinder better than the other team, and the incredible emphasis that is put on winning. And I know as a varsity coach, my job is to win games, and so I don't have any issue with that. And I think if you do something, you do it with excellence, and if you're going to put a team out on the floor, they're going to try their hardest, to win. And I get all that, but so much emphasis is put on winning and losing, and really, every team ends their high school career on a loss unless you win the state championship game. And to do something like this is just going to be remembered far, past wins and losses, of just doing something for other people and doing that. That was awesome.
And, you look at it, Josh Flickinger, who's a good friend of ours at the Beloit Daily News, writes a story that maybe he didn't think he was going to write probably at first. He writes it, you read it, and you think about it a little bit, and all of a sudden all that turns into positive stuff. And it could have been looked at as a negative that nobody's going to South Beloit, but it turned into a really positive thing for everybody.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was a little nervous about, of how it was going to be taken, because I knew that, that our girls and the other girls from the teams and the adults were going there for the right reason. And just wanting to make sure that nobody was looking at this, in the wrong way. And it did. It just turned out to just be just really good from start to finish. And the feedback, afterwards, and just talking to some of the parents, of the South Beloit players, and just some classy parents, and just, some of the stuff that they shared, and talking to some of the players and what they shared. And then seeing, one of our players, Taryn Shahan, just a classy young lady from our team, had made a sign for one of the players on the other team, and just seeing them afterwards, Taryn going up to her, handing her the sign, and just watching that other girl just throw her arms around Taryn and hug her, and just seeing that those connections, and seeing that some of the players have already become Facebook friends, with each other and things like that. But I could coach another 25 years and not have, a night like that. It was pretty special. So
you think it's had a real positive effect on your kids as well?
Oh, you bet. Yep. They were so into it, just from start to finish, from the idea, to the end, and just some of the feedback from our players. As we were stretching yesterday in our first practice since then, and just sharing some of the things, that I had heard, from that, and having them share what their teachers were saying to them about what a classy thing it was that they did, because that's really, to me, the emphasis was high school girls reaching out to other high school girl players that have a common bond of what they go through, but being there for each other. And to me, that was the best part.
And you must have a real love for kids, Coach, because you're a youth pastor. That takes a lot of work, and now you're a girls basketball coach. That has to make you really feel proud of the teenagers that you're around.
Oh, you bet. And, like the Jefferson girls, driving over an hour.
Yep.
We've had so many snow days and cold days.
Yep.
I mean, in February, we're going to be playing nonstop, and our travel schedule for all the Rock Valley Conference teams is just going to be crazy. And to have a Saturday night where you could be home and stay there, or for the adults that could have just stayed home, and to realize how much effort they put in to just be there, that was just phenomenal.
And you look at all the movies like Hoosiers and those with the good endings. These true life ones are just as good as those movies they show on TV like that. It had a great happy ending.
Yep.
Well, thanks so much, Coach, for being on today. Good luck tonight in your game. And I know it's one thing that I'll remember for a long time, and I think I'll be using it as an example when I talk to people. So thanks so much. We've been talking with Mike Powers, the head basketball coach at Clinton, Wisconsin, and the great thing they did for South Beloit. Thanks again, Coach.
All right. You have a great day.
This is Dave Schmidt for the StatelineSportsHub.com.